to the big picture. My name is Anil Wanvari, the founder, CEO, and editor-in-chief of the 25-year-old Indian Television.com group. And I'm delighted to have a wonderful guest today with me in the big picture. He's got a lot of experience, oodles of experience being in the media industry. And today he manages a lot of Korean brands working at Innocean, a company which an advertising agency which looks after the spends for two large names, Kia and Hyundai Motor Corp. So welcome, Sridhar. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And I'm happy to share my experiences, my views. And
Yeah,
yeah,
so
maybe in the conversation, I'll maybe even learn a few points from you. Absolutely happy to be here.
yeah, so just wanted to check. You've got a very very good career, but your early life, where you grew up, how was it experience? What did you study? What did you go on to major in, and or were you very good at extracurricular activities? Let's have a little know a little more about you on a personal level as well as on your educational side.
Well, see, I was born in Delhi in a typical Tam Bram kind of a home, and I spent all my life in Delhi. And while it can be a little bit of a myth that Sridhar Balasubramanian sounds like very Coimbatore-ish, but if there's a IPL match between Delhi and Chennai, I'm going gaga for Delhi, whatever be
Oh
the
my
result.
God! Even though Talaiva is there in Chennai Super Kings, I go for Talaiva any day.
So
Talaiva is Dhoni, of course. Talaiva is
that's the
Dhoni.
bit different about me. So I grew up in a typical Tambram home with what do you say, good old school values, and I kind of cherish that even as of now. And then yeah, I mean, my parents always emphasized the need for education, but I was just a little better than an average student. But in that sense, sports was the big deal for me. It was an escape from the thought of mathematics very specifically, and I was into
I can,
multiple
I can, I can
sports.
totally, vibrate with that. I can totally understand where you're coming from. Maths was not my best point, but I've learned to enjoy maths as I grew up.
Yeah, so sports used to be like a big relief. And however, you do come back to your senses, your parents bring you back down to practical realities of life. And then, yeah, I mean, I got better as I went around in my education. And yeah, I mean, I studied all my life in Delhi. I studied at Kirodimal College, famously, or however, Amitabh Bachchan's college, if I may say. And I studied BA honors in geography with the objective of appearing for the civil services. And I was very good when I was in college, that's for sure. But then it so happened that a few of my very close friends, they got into the, shall I say, bandwagon of MBA. So yes, I also followed them. And I was, because very specifically I was told that you need maths at a working level, not like at a scientist level. So why don't you give it a shot? And then yes, that happened. And I also went into doing an MBA in marketing. And but as I went along, I was actually quite enamored by advertising. And when I was growing up in the late 1980s, I would say that was a great period for Indian advertising, and I was quite enamored by it. I mean, like, got a sense of the kind of lifestyle the advertising professionals lead, and that kind of gave me, a sense of having freedom while you're working, and not closeted in the corporate sector with suits and ties and stuff, suffocating in more ways than just the dress. So
Mhm.
that's me in a nutshell. And I would greatly say that, okay, besides the old school values of my upbringing, and I would say that sports has been a big deal in my life, and kind of an
So what
identity.
sport? What sport has been the big deal?
So,
Was it tennis? Was it cricket? Was it
so when
or
I
was
was
it
in school, I could, if I had the wherewithals to be a sports person, then I I was spoiled for choice, in the sense that I was pretty good at football, as in soccer, basketball, cricket, and athletics. So I could have done something with any of these ones, but yeah, I don't
so
regret that I
football? Were
didn't
you a
get.
forward or were you a halfback or were you a back? And in
I
athletics, what
was
did
like
you
a, what is called as the playmaker. So
center forward or the left winger?
I, let me bluntly say, I mean, like, I grew up watching Maradona like mad. So Maradona was not a forward, but like, kind of a withdrawn forward, and, making the game for the team. So that's the kind of role that I used to play while I was
So you
playing.
fed people to score. You fed
Yes,
people. Mainly
yes,
you were a feeder.
yes, yes, you can say that.
That you passed or did you go right up to the D?
No, I mean, like, I would, because of athletics, I used to be pretty fast, and, I would overtake the center forward to score.
You scored
So,
as well.
so
Wow, fantastic.
yeah, yeah, I mean, like,
And this was a
but
college level, or was it intercollegiate, or was it
no,
university?
no, school. So
Inter school level.
by the time I come into college, I was very well brainwashed that sports is not the future. So then it so happened that I picked up a mental sport. I mean, like, I would say quizzing. So I used
Oh,
to
wow,
go
man.
around the Delhi circuit, quizzing around, and used to make enough money in prize money to be able to manage my own expenses. So that was the good part of it.
So you did a lot of
So
quizzing. I mean, amazing. And you must have been reading the Bonita quiz book that used to come out every year to get up to date on.
yeah. We used to lap it up, and in fact, at that point of time, the host was not Mr. Derek O'Brien. Um, Another gentleman, I'm forgetting his name, but then that's
Was
also
it
the
Babu?
time. Sorry.
Was it Siddharth Basu?
Siddharth Basu used to do a program called Quiz Time.
That's
But
right.
I now remember Mr. Amin Sayani used to do the
Amin
Bonvita.
Sayani. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
he used to do the Bonvita quiz contest.
Yeah.
So I would say that I had the best of all worlds as I was growing up. Some bit of education, a lot of extracurricular. So I mean, I'm very happy the way I grew up, frankly speaking. I got to
So
thank my
let me
parents.
ask you a quiz question now.
Don't
Let me ask
stump me.
No, I'm
I
not going to
stopped
stop
playing
you.
cricket.
It's not cricket, please. It's not cricket. We are talking about. I'm going to give you a curve ball right now. Not a cricketing term. So, uh, what's the biggest seabird called?
What's the biggest seabird called?
Seagull called.
Seagull called?
Yeah,
I
it's a very
reckon.
simple one. You'll know it when I tell you the name. When I give you the answer, you'll tell me, "Oh God, I knew it all along."
I reckon a penguin is a bird, and
No, it's a mammal. It's a bird and a mammal. It's in between. No, but that's not. It's a fly. Okay, let me clarify. The flying seabird called
a flying.
penguin's waddle. It's an albatross. Let me not stump you any further.
Yes, I mean, like, with very wide wings. Yes, yes,
Yes, albatross. Because
I agree. I agree.
yeah, so I was in the school quiz at that time, and the only points that my team got were two answers which I gave albatross because I used to read. If I find out, because I used to read in Blaton, and in that I read about an albatross, and we won 4 points in the eighth standard, and that's how I remember it. I remember it till this date, almost 50 years later.
Great,
I can't
great.
forget it. Yeah, but coming back, quizzing is fun. I mean, I must tell you. I don't know if you heard of Johnny Rodrigues. He was from TNMC in Mumbai. Tobiwala Nayar Medical College. He was a whiz at jam. He was a whiz at quizzing. He was a bit, just a minute. You got to speak non-stop without repeating the words. So
Yeah,
we
I
used
used
to
to
do,
play that as well. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, like,
that
down from Dumb Charades to What's the Good Word
absolutely.
and all those things.
Yeah, and you won for the college, which was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. So water games in Malhar. Did you ever come to participate in Malhar in
No,
Xavier?
I'm afraid not. I was mostly in the Delhi circuit only. So, no, I didn't really step out and,
Not even to IIT Mood Indigo.
no, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid
Good Lord, Mood Indigo lost meeting a talent. Might have won here. You might have won here. Anyway, coming back again. So you enjoyed football, you enjoyed athletics, and you were a short distance runner, or were you a long distance, 10,000, 5,000, or was it
So
100 and
at
200 meter dash?
at at school and college level, I mean, like, you would say middle distance. So that's like 800, 1500, 3K, 5K, and max 10K.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the space.
And what was your, if I may ask you, your 10K time? Do you remember?
Well, see, it was at that point of time. I mean, like, I would say, I mean, like, crazy kind of timing, I would say, in the sense like 35, 37 minutes thereabouts, without much guidance, without much of those
Coaching.
tech issues and all that. But I was pretty fast. I mean, like, I used to run on the roads and chasing cycles and slow moving two-wheelers to kind of pace myself up. I mean, those were the days of
Are you at it right
full-time.
now also? Oh no, running.
Right now, I am thankful that I continue to run my best since I got out of the what do you say, momentum of active running after college. So it's what, 56.28 minutes.
So that you'll
Um,
do well in the quarter marathon or the 7 kilometer run because that's
well,
a good
see,
time.
I mean,
So
I
if you're
continue
saying
to
10
run.
kilometers, it's 5 minutes, so you do it in about 35 minutes for a 7 kilometer.
That was then. That was then. Now, I mean, like, I'm saying that
Within 56
56,
minutes. It's
56 odd
5.6
minutes.
minutes, 5.6 minutes per kilometer. That
Yeah,
means
yeah,
a seven
roughly.
kilometer run, you'll do about 7, 5, 35, 7, 6, 40. About 40 minutes, you'll do your 7 kilometer,
Yes, yes, yes. That works
which
out
will
like
get you,
that.
which will get you a good rank in the marathons.
Well,
Go ahead
see,
and
I
run for it.
mean, I now run more to stay fit and to better myself by the day than to necessarily look for podiums and comparative positions. I'm not getting into that space, and in fact, after the onset of COVID is when I resumed running to stay fit, and I'm just happy to be staying fit, and timings and numbers are like a derivative, not the starting point, really.
Excellent. So you did geography, you specialized in geography with an idea to go towards civil services. Did you see the film Barvi Fail?
No, I've never really been a movie buff, to tell you very frankly. I mean, like, I mean, fiction of any sorts didn't ever attract me. But
Okay.
yeah, if you ask me, how many times did you see the 1983 World Cup replays? I mean, I would have lost count. And yeah, I mean, like, I could be trivial in the sports space, but not so much in the movie space.
Okay, we'll come back to it. But Barbie Fail is about this young kid who attempts, I think, thrice or 4 times to get into the civil services. And
Okay,
he doesn't even speak he doesn't speak proper English. He learns he's a Hindi educated medium guy and
right,
Hindi medium educated guy, and how he goes and he becomes an ICS. It's a
right,
Indian Civil Services, actually IPS. He enters the police services, not the civil services, but police services, and
right,
how he fights against all odds to become a a senior police officer. So it's an
right,
amazing thing for anybody who's sat for civil services. It inspires you like anything, and it's got brilliant acting, brilliant direction, brilliant writing, brilliant dialogue. Amazing film. Anyway, let's move on from that. So, yeah, you said later on academics became your forte, and you got into marketing. You got into marketing because you found the field glamorous in a way, and your friends were also getting into it. So hence, and did you try for the civil services or no?
No, no,
Straight away.
I didn't. I mean, like, by the time I was in third year of my college, given the fact that all these
Mhm.
management exams start happening from, say, November or at the most December. So, by the time I was starting my third year, I'd got into preparing for the MBA exams. So therefore, I did not really appear for even one of the uh, attempts at that.
Okay. So your graduation happened from which was it from FMS
No,
or
so I studied at FMS Baroda,
okay.
and I had got admission in a couple of colleges in Mumbai also. But then, my elderly granny was staying in Baroda, and so therefore, I wanted to support her as well alongside my own education. So I chose to join FMS Baroda.
Excellent. Any interesting peers who were with you who've become very senior executives today?
Yeah, I mean, like, they're in fact all over the world. But
Okay.
having said that, I'm the odd one out who's into advertising, and they all followed, I would say, money. I chose to follow a passion, so therefore I joined advertising.
Well, there was a feeling that you join advertising to make money. It wasn't you join advertising for passion.
It's a myth, and the biggest lie if someone told you that one could join advertising to make money. And I think I said earlier that I was enamored by the kind of lifestyle that advertising professionals had, and the free going, easy going. I mean, serious in demeanor in terms of work, but easy to engage with, easy to interact with. I mean, like, when I was doing a, what do you say, summer project while at FMS Baroda, I used to go down to Mudra at Ahmedabad. And, I mean, like, an executive calling the group head by first name with a difference of something like 8 to 10 years in terms of experience as well as age. I mean, like, gave me a very good feel. So yeah.
Great. I mean, you must have worked with Gangadharan and all of them. They were there. Ganga was
Uh,
in
yes, but
Ahmedabad.
a summer project. I mean, like, I knew very few people, and then I moved back to Delhi after FMS, and in fact, I studied further at the Indian Institute of Mass Comm, and thereafter I started my career in advertising in 1994. So
Yeah. So
getting
can you
close to
share some
the
of your milestones, of your journey so far? Some of the milestones. So you worked in mechanics, and you worked with at that stage it would have been Tarasena, if I'm correct, or had
So I
Saurabh
will
come.
I will definitely walk you through my journey. So when I started my career in 1994, I actually wanted to be into account planning
Okay.
because Mr. Santosh Desai used to be our faculty. There was another gentleman by the name Parveen Aluwalia. They used to be a faculty, and I was wanting to get into account planning. But then it so happened that one fine day, Mr. Santosh Desai called me up into his office while he was at Mudra, and he said that we have an opening in media planning. Want to take it on? And then, I said that I wanted to do account planning, and he said that, look, account planning in the initial years is about going and doing research left, right, center, here and there. And I mean, like, more hands and legs kind of a thing than to, really do account planning. But he reckoned that I do pretty well in media planning. So
Okay.
I thought that at the end of the day, at least it's some planning. So,
Mhm.
so therefore, I latched onto it, starting my career with Mudra, and I used to work on mainly on Nestle.
So that
Um,
was Madhukar's time,
Madhukar, however, was in
Mumbai.
Mumbai.
Yeah.
So Mr. Rahul Kansal
I
and
remember Rahul. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mr. Santosh Desai, these were the ones who were, running the office in Delhi. And then I carried on and I moved to McCann for a while. After doing some 2.5 odd years at Muttra and then going to
This
McCann
was
and then,
Saurabh's time, Saurabh Mistri's time. Oh, this was Tara.
yes. No, but I used to work with Ambika Srivastav.
Ambika, good old Ambika. She was brilliant.
So that was at McCann, and then I came back again to do a second stint at Mudra, and in my second stint at Mudra, I used to work mainly on Samsung, and I was very happy to be a part of a company that was launching out, you know, product after product every half year. So that was a very good feel, and I used to do a lot of things beyond my age, I would say. And it kind of was really like swimming in a big ocean. So that was wonderful.
Now
And
in
then
ocean. Now in ocean. That was a big ocean. Now it's in ocean.
well, I'll tell you about the derivation of the name of Innocean in just a
We'll come
bit.
to that in
Yeah,
just a bit.
so then after the second stint at Mudra, I got an opportunity to uh, join Ogilvy, and and I kind of felt that Mudra and Ogilvy used to have similarity in terms of the work culture and the environment as such, and this whole thing that I started my career with in terms of the kind of lifestyle that advertising professionals lead, and I thought that would go to the next level at uh, Ogilvy. I used to work on Electrolux and some
Wow.
brands of Dabur. So then uh, Group M came in into India, and then the media divisions of Ogilvy, Contract, HTA, aka
Yeah.
JWT, they all merged into the entity of Group M. So yeah, so I mean that was for a while, and then I worked with Initiative Media. So while at Initiative Media, I used to work on many brands of ITC, and then 2006 is when I joined Innocean, and I worked with Innocean in two parts. In the sense that when I joined in 2006, Innocean was just set up, and as I said, it's Hyundai's uh, group company. And so I used to drive the media function for Hyundai Motors. So I worked till about 2015 in the first avatar of myself in Ocean. And then I went away for about 1.5 years to Initiative, and I was driving the strategy function for RB at Initiative. That's Bracket.
Beckett
Then I
Benkaiser.
That's right. And then I came back again towards the fag end of 2017, back to Innocean, but this time to head the media function for Kia Motors. So
Hmm.
Kia Motors was just about to come in into India, and they ultimately rolled out their first car in middle of 2019. But all the preparatory work building up to that launch, including a corporate campaign. So I was like part of -2 years of the start of Kia in India, and it's been a great journey. And going back to Ocean and Innocean, Innocean is actually an amalgamation of the words of ocean of innovation. So therefore, from there it's derived, and so therefore it's Innocean. So
You'll be happy to know. I mean, great to know that, but you'll be happy to know my daughter was part of your launch campaign of Kia Karens. She played the wife. So that was my
wow.
daughter.
She would have, in that case, turned into a mermaid.
No, she didn't do it further. This was the space where they move on the Kia Karens.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I confused it for a moment with Carnival, but I
No,
get it. I get it. Karens is
she's
different.
the
Yeah,
mother with
that
the husband
space
and
bit. Space
Space
Journey
one, yeah,
better.
which was
I
done
got
by
it.
directed by Bill Seigel.
I got it. Yes, yes,
Yeah, so that she was the mother in that, my daughter. We are
yes.
connected spiritually in some way or the other. I don't know how. Coincidence. I didn't expect to speak to somebody who's working on the Kia account. I really didn't expect.
Awesome.
That is serendipity, as they call it. But nonetheless, yeah. So, Innocean since then, and you must have had a hectic time working, and there must have been some great initiatives you must be very proud of that
Well,
you've
see,
achieved over the years. That
I wouldn't
Nestle,
say I
Mhm.
wouldn't say hectic. I mean, like frankly speaking, I would in fact say that I have a good work-life balance working at Innocean. And the point is, see, in terms of being busy with what? So the thing is that, see, it really depends as to, how do you understand the needs of your clients. And so therefore, somebody is more strategy oriented, somebody is more, shall we say, proactiveness or being a good organizer, a good manager. So, see, the point is like, strategy is something that we would tend to do together. Uh, but yeah, I mean, like, depending on the domain of expertise, who takes the greater number of calls is one thing. And the other thing is that, both Hyundai and Kia Motors have, this need for efficiency, this need for um, executional brilliance, because at the end of the day, the proof of the pudding is in being able to serve, your audiences in their way. So I would say stuff that works in the marketplace, not necessarily with the jury of XYZ awards. But see, I would say
It
that,
gets you
I've
results.
been,
It gets you results. It gets people into
yes,
the stores and makes them buy the cars.
yes, absolutely. So, therefore, I'm absolutely proud to say that, I worked on many of the Santro campaigns, many of the launches
That's
that,
the Shah Rukh Khan ones. The Shah Rukh Khan ones.
yes, I mean, like
The
Shahrukh
I-10
for
and
that.
all that.
SRK has been associated with Hyundai since day minus X, since the time that Hyundai came into the country. So he's been an ambassador with Hyundai since then. So I mean, like, everything that is of Hyundai, Shahrukh has been a part of many things in that journey since 1998. So one, it's not possible to single out the Shah Rukh one because he's been a part of many of the campaigns. So going forward from there, also launching many products which work well with the audience in terms of creating positive brand disposition towards the products of Kia. So that's the big deal. So the point is like, doing things efficiently. That's the way it has been with both Kia as well as Hyundai.
So what have
But
been the landmark things that you can really look up to and you can cite as something you achieved? Was it a sponsorship? Was it a branding association? Could have
yeah, so this is going back to 2007, and uh, this was, the IPL was going to start in 2008, and the point is like, uh, people didn't really think much about the IPL. Was it like going to be a glorified domestic league? Or was it really going to turn out to be the spectacle that it did turn out to be? So I am very happy to say that, I could kind of get a sense of what this is because, I had a lot of interest in football, and then, watching the English Premier League and various football leagues around. I thought that, this was going to be something in that zone. And I was able to recommend that to our folks at Hyundai to buy into it and, really walk into the hearts of Indian audiences because in India, I mean, there is cricket, there's Bollywood. So the thing is that, I'm happy that I could push this through and get them to invest in the IPL. And frankly speaking, I mean, Mr. Gupta at uh, Sony at that point of time, I mean,
Kunal, you're talking about Das Gupta. Kunal.
he, no,
It was Kunal Das Gupta.
I'll just recall his first name in
Rohit
maybe
Gupta.
just
Rohit.
Rohit Gupta.
Rohit was in charge of sales. Kunal was the
Absolutely,
boss. Kunal was the boss.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So the thing is that, I felt that, nobody knew how to price this at that point of time, because nobody had a sense of what it would turn out to be.
Yeah.
And so to that extent,
You bought it cheap.
um, I mean, we got it efficiently, is the way I would put
Efficient.
it,
I love that word.
rather than cheap. And so that is something that, I'm absolutely glad about. And then, we were able to take it to the next level in terms of associating with the ICC. So Hyundai was a partner with the ICC for good 5 years, starting with the 2011 World Cup. And if you go
This was
back,
only for India? Only for India or for the world? All matches.
uh, this was for first year only for India, but then, for the rest of the 4 years, it was a global association. And
Nice.
if you'd recall, if you'd rather go back in time and see the six that Dhoni hit to win the World Cup, as the ball goes to the stadium, just at the nick of time, you see a digital board which pops up, Hyundai. I mean, that for us was like a million
Super
dollar
move.
coincidence. So I mean, these have been a couple of you know things that I am very happy to have been a part of. Then going further forward from there, working on Kia. I mean, Kia came into India as a late entrant when the market was very mature, with big daddies in the market, uh, and in the mind space, very dominant. And here comes a challenger brand. And the thing that they backed themselves was product quality and design as uh, the big deal. And therein, how do we turn it around into a business success? And I've been a part of each and everything of Kia since they were -2 years coming into India to roll out their first car, and every project I'd been associated with. So very happy the way Kia has been accepted in India for all their cars, very specifically Seltos and Sonet. And I'm glad that I'm going to be continuing the journey of more success coming the way of Kia in the next few years also.
Fantastic. Really, really feels really nice listening to you talk like this about the charges that you have under your belt. Amazing. I can sense the love you have for the brand. I think that's
That's
important in advertising
yeah,
and in
you. I
media.
mean,
It's not just
see,
numbers.
yeah. I mean, see, as I said, I joined this profession for the passion of it, not for anything else. So yeah, passion is everything.
I get it. Yeah. So now you said you're not too much of a movie buff. Well, you're not a movie buff, but do you watch cinema at all?
Well, see, the last movie that I remember watching was a movie called Pushpa. And he does stuff
Oh,
like
what a
that.
film, man. What a film.
Yeah. So and that was, that's something that came about after 2 years of watching a movie earlier than that, and then another 2 years, and so on and so forth. Uh, yeah. So
So you're one of the reasons why films didn't do well at the box office.
no, I don't want to make a blanket
I'm just
statement.
kidding. You don't have to take it seriously. I'm kidding. I said you're one of the reasons why films are not doing well at the box office because you don't go enough.
No, I
Yes.
think, the thing is that, mm, the movie space, as in, like, it's all got very fragmented. I mean, like, you could watch it on your small screen. I mean, like, it is content consumption is now agnostic of screen. So the point is, like, whether it's box office or a premium paid OTT or however. So, it doesn't give you the sense of, let's say maybe what I had grown up watching. I mean, like, yes, one movie I remember having watched many times, even in theater, was Sholay growing up as a kid. And in that sense, you don't see that because, the way movie consumption happens has obviously changed with it getting split across screens. But if you're referring to,
Any
uh,
movies, not just theaters. I'm saying, do you watch cinema?
no, I'm afraid not. I'm
You don't watch movies, even on OTT or on television?
No, seriously. I mean, like, this is more from a personal point of view. I don't have anything against the genre of movies as such. And to tell you very frankly, as I said, I grew up in a very typical conservative kind of household where education was the most important thing, and then in that kind of a system, watching a movie was like indulgence. So I never, picked up the fad for going out to the movies as such, even as of now.
Okay, so you
So
don't watch much. So then who's your, do you have a favorite actor? You don't have a favorite actor. Is it Manmuti or is it
no, no,
Prasan?
no. I mean, like, I mean, if you were to ask me, then I would put Mr. Amitabh Bachchan right on top because, yeah, at least when I was a kid, I grew up watching, at least at that point of time, movies like Sholay and Namak Halal and Dawn and uh, Shan and those kind of movies. But after I kind of gathered my wits,
Mhm.
I mean, like, my interests moved on to, other spaces, and there hasn't really been a comeback to this genre. But I do understand, I do appreciate that this is big in India. This is very big in South India, but I will live with it at that um, as a professional, but not so much personally, I would say.
Yeah, so you've got great films coming up now. Films that have done phenomenally well at the box office. Films like Brahmastra, Pathan, Gaddar 2, Jawan, Tiger 3, Animal, and Salar. So, how do you think marketers can leverage these successes to fuel growth for their brands? What are the strategies they can use? What are the tactics they can use? So, there's strategies and there's tactics, both short. Some are short term, some are long term.
So, I would really say that, integration into content is the most important thing because the thing is that, you can do stuff over the top of a movie, but then, being actually a part of the movie and, kind of building synergies with the brand's proposition and the movie's plot, that's the important bit. And as I said, well, I don't watch too many movies, but I remember one movie very vividly. I mean, this was Tata Safari in the movie called Road. And, I thought that the movie and the brand were kind of made for each other. And so because, uh, the car was such an integral part of the movie. I mean, like, it seemed like a subject in itself. And so, therefore, to be able to integrate meaningfully with the movie, and it's not so much about the amount of screen time as such, but about synergies. Like, for example, like, Seltos has the proposition of the badass. Okay, the badass by design, the badass reborn, now that the new Seltos had got launched. I mean, like, the badass proposition and the plot of the movie, there is synergy happening between them. That's the best thing, number one. Then it's about magnification of, this collaboration, I would say, by way of promoting it together.
Mhm.
And so to create a lot of shoulder content to it and creating anticipation both for the show as well as for the brand, and depending on the life stage of the brand, whether it's going to be a tease for a launch or it's going to actually showcase what a product can do. I mean, like, those things can really come alive with a lot of shoulder content that can happen around it, be it in social spaces or,
By shoulder content, you mean? What do you mean by what exactly? Do you
well,
mean
well, well,
BTS,
see,
be behind the scenes?
no, no, behind the scenes. And then the point is like, let's say you visualize a TVC, right? I mean, like a TVC would be like a formal showcase of the brand to the general audience as such. And
Okay.
then you get down to specifics and playing with certain things, playing up certain aspects about the brand. I mean, like, given the fact that you don't want to package everything into one TVC of 30-second, 40-second, or whatever. The point is like, people consume that content and absorb it, but then how do you get people to engage with the brand? And so therefore you don't want to repeat that same content in the social space. You'd rather create alternate content about the brand, which is kind of informal and gets people to kind of engage with the brand and create a ripple effect. So that I would term as like shoulder. So therefore, if you say that, okay, I mean, like, our car is badass, are you badass enough to, kind of be in it? So then you get people to talk about it, talk about themselves and, the synergies that they see with the brand. So um, summarizing it, I mean, like, one, integrating with the content. Secondly, creating a ripple effect to that in terms of post production, content creation, collaboration, audience engagement. These, I would say, would be the buzzwords to, really leverage a movie. I mean, like, you can do a lot of, in addition to this, you can do a lot of hygiene things like, appearance of the cast in a event and stuff like that. That's all a matter of how much you have invested in a project and how many bells and whistles you can add to it. But at the core of it, uh, being integrated with content and being able to kind of leverage it in a post production scenario with additional content and engagement, that would be the sum total of it.
Yeah, but you've also got new initiatives like, where you have companies like Buffering come up, which are sharing promotional space with films and with other brands so that they kind of amortize the cost across different advertisers. So is that something you adhere to it, co-branding on promotional outlets, whether it's in store, whether it's in retail outlet, or whether it's in the outdoors, digital outdoors, or what have you?
Well, see, the thing is that, okay, if you can do this exclusively, that's the best thing. I mean, like,
Okay.
you can possibly take it into the realms of what we would call as AFPs, advertiser funded programs. But if not, I mean, like, just to make things a little more efficient, there has to be, some kind of synergy between the brands also, with wherein, there are, you're kind of, pooling in together. So, like, for example, I would say, Coke and Adidas have better synergies, and Pepsi and Nike have better synergies rather than vice versa. So even if there are other brands coming into the picture, you've got to be able to see that do they complement each other, or kind of cross over each other. So I mean, like, exclusivity is best, but if not, synergy is important in any case.
So
So
like you can have
so
a Hyundai car and you can, with let's say Centos and a fantastic oil co-branding each other.
I,
More engine oil.
can you come back on that? Can you say that again, please?
One of the Hyundai brands and an oil franchise, an engine oil franchise, or a coolant franchise coming and working together for co-branding and co-promotion.
Yeah, so I think, see, between Hyundai and Kia, I would say, you know, uh, Hyundai is a little bit uh, more formal, more reaching out to a demographic kind of an audience, and kind of a not going on the edge kind of a brand, vis-a-vis Kia, for whom being a late entrant, being salient is extremely important. So therefore, going more to the edge and kind of collaborating with people who personify the identity of Kia. So I would differentiate the two of these brands like that. I mean, I would say that okay, Hyundai is more functional, but plus functional plus lifestyle. Kia, I would say, is more attitude. So therefore, that's the difference. And then therein you have XYZ brands working together. You know, these things need to be kind of be kept in mind. I mean, like, so shall we say that okay, Kia could host uh, Sam Altman or Elon Musk,
Okay.
and Hyundai could host Mr. Tim Cook better. Let me
Okay.
put it that way.
Okay. I get it. Or you could have Red Bull with Kia.
Yes.
And if I'm correct, Red Bull is all about the risk taking, pushing your limits, the attitude.
Yes.
Okay, I get that now. Thank you very much for that. Now, coming down to the TV side and the OTT side. Remember, these films, these big blockbusters, when they come on TV or they come on, especially TV, they aggregate large audiences, very large audiences. And, you have a lot of co-viewing happening, family viewing happening, and it's exactly like cricket happens in cricket. So, because they were co-viewing, you build a lot of experiences in the families, and also brand conversations happen because of this when they're watching in between the films, they're watching the ads. So how do you think brands should leverage these big titles which come on television?
So in terms of leveraging WTPs, again, I would say you can't really get into a in production kind of space, but still co-promotion is like one way of leveraging it better than simply having spots in a WTP. I mean, which in any case, because of the amount of clutter that you have, it will not necessarily stand out. But being able to be there as a presenting partner or a co-presenting partner, and therefore kind of using the brand's own assets and that of the movie, and kind of creating a post-production content piece, and therein engaging with the audience through contests and some kind of a gamification can kind of work well. In any case, I mean, they would get eyeballs. Definitely, I mean, like, people definitely value a content that's let's say 2 months old after a theatrical release, and knowing well that okay, this movie has done well in the theaters. So I mean, like, it's a it's a bait for them to come in. Yes, as I said, um, beyond sports, beyond sports, beyond vanilla sports, uh, presenting partnerships, being a part of back end stories related to the movie, being able to combine assets of the movie and the brand, and then doing joint promotions. I think that can be a good way of leveraging WTPs or.
Okay, now let's move on from WTPs to movie channels, Hindi movie channels. They aggregate large sets of audiences who dip in and out at times, who stay sticky at times now. And they're a good investment opportunity for big brands. So what is your strategy for the movie genre? Do you prefer movie premieres alone, or do you also like run of day part buys, or a mix of both? And what, according to you, is the ideal winning mix?
You will have a scenario, as in, like, okay, your uh, uh, max investment goes into the hero movie of the month, or however one would want to classify that. But then you can also have sprinkling of um, surround inventory to that movie, and catch fleeting audiences also. And in any case, even if you didn't wanted to invest beyond the hero movie, you will, in order to sweeten a deal, make it more efficient, you will get peripheral content also, and so therefore you will have presence in terms of ROTP, ROS, and so on and so forth, which is fine. Ultimately, when you do a, post-campaign analysis of efficiency, any metric of ROI you want to get into, Hindi movies do tend to work very well. And besides besides focusing only on a movie, a hero content, if you take a package, then it becomes much more efficient, and greater amount of reach, greater amount of GRPs or any metric. So in a nutshell, I would say diversify the mix, and the point is, like, take the hero content as well as the surround effect to it. Typically, you will see that, okay, in a hero content, your slightly lesser content also gets promoted, and you will catch audiences, getting them interested into going into other content pieces of the channel also. So
Mhm.
I would see it that way.
Okay, now, so certain studies have, especially the one recent one by Kanta Across Media, it ran for about some 11 years. It shows that more than what they studied at least 125 case studies, and the study showed that one third of impact in building brand awareness comes from TV across categories. So, how important is TV to drive awareness for your brands?
So, um, see, awareness is one point related to a mind metric of an audience. So the point is, like, it's not so important that you know me or I know you, but
Yeah.
how well do I know you, or how well do you know me, that matters. Which means to say that, okay, awareness is one thing, but then uh, do you build trust? Do you build confidence? I mean, like, if there is some serious content, you know
Mhm.
that has to be propagated to an audience, uh, again, good amount of research has shown that offline media, linear TV, newspapers, radio, have greater amount of trust, credibility than that in the digital space, and TV very much being a part of that. So there is trust, there is confidence, and therein, if you say that, okay, if your brand has got serious content, serious audiences, then you say that, okay, I mean, news is the space for this brand. But then the point is, like, news in the TV space vis-a-vis news in the online space, there is a difference in terms of the level of credibility. I mean, like, we've seen so many things wherein you see a piece of content in a digital space, and then some hue and cry happens, and then that content changes, and then you wonder whether something was credible even in the first place or not. So when we come back and talk about your specific question, one third of impact in building brand awareness comes from TV. I will. I mean, I'm sure this has come out of statistic that it is one third, but I would like to have believed that it might have been more than that. But having said that, I feel that TV still brings a lot of things other than basic awareness. It is trust, credibility. Number one. Number two, because of the nature of the medium, wherein it is not necessarily consumed singularly, and rather being consumed singularly is like more an exception than the norm. So therefore, you will have a scenario of where, let's say, a prospective buyer of a product, the influencer of the product, and the consumer of the product are all consuming the content at the same time. Let's
Yes.
say, for example, a Bonvita. The father may be the influencer that you ought to have Bonvita, and the mother may be the purchaser, or vice versa, and the kid is the consumer. And the point is like, TV is one space which gets all of them together, and then, there is a lot of exchange that happens, consuming content together. And typically, if you see, you know there have been many cricketing projects that have been promoted, that let's watch this together, let's do this together, let's banter with each other. So there is a certain amount of congenial relationship, harmony, that kind of builds in front of the television. So that's one part of it. So the point is like, TV, goes beyond just the space of
Awareness.
awareness, credibility, and those kind of mind metrics. But beyond that, again, research has actually proven that it works very well from a brand's life cycle perspective, also about what the needs of the brand are. I mean, like, see, the number of purchasers that a brand has, funnels down from a bigger pool of prospects, bigger pool of people being influenced, bigger pool of people finding the need recognition to get into a product category. And within the offline media space, I mean, TV was always a big thing. It is even bigger now. And I would say, unfortunately, to some extent, because of the fall of print in terms of its level of readership, and it having moved a lot online. So, yeah, I mean, like, I would say generically, and even from my own practice, TV does continue to have its level of importance, not really, undermined, despite the fact that, you have a lot of things like screen agnostic planning and stuff like that, but it's not really, going away anywhere.
Yeah. So now you look at the current media. That was fantastic to hear that, television is still preeminent and prominent as far as your planning and spends are concerned. So now when I look at but when you look at current spectrum, you have TV plus digital, and then you have, normally people say that you have to mix TV and digital. What is your overall take on effectiveness of TV plus digital advertising for the auto category?
Well, see, as I said, there is a, let's imagine that there is an auto purchaser. I mean, like, auto. Uh, we call it in our jargon as a pre-market audience and an in-market audience. The
Sure.
pre-market audience, uh, doesn't really know if they have the need for the product itself, as in like any car for that matter. I mean, like, it's television. Television is like a medium which is, where you go and you discover stuff. I mean, like, you don't go planning, asking for a very specific thing. You go there to consume content with whatever objective, but you're kind of open to receiving content. So in that sense, you may have never have felt a need to purchase a product, but a medium like television kind of helps in the need recognition coming through. And once you've got interested in, let's say, buying a car for that matter, and because of the fact that the stakes are high in a monetary sense, after a home and marriage, most people spend the most money on buying a car. So therein, you don't want to get anything wrong with it, so you want to evaluate it, you want to compare it. And that's where the entire journey tends to be dominated by the digital space. There are human touch points which intervene in that decision making process finally. But in that sense, I mean, like, first thing first, there are no two ways about it, that if we say TV plus digital work well together, no arguments about it. I mean, like, it's age old media multiplier effect that kind of works, and kind of makes sense that one plus one is greater than two. So that's one point. But TV plays a role in terms of creating need recognition, and then it's a little different vis-a-vis OTT. In the OTT space also, you kind of I would say it more like often an extension of digital than an extension of TV itself. So wherein you're going there and you're specifically choosing to consume what you want to consume. So therefore, there is a difference in that sense that okay, TV helps you build a pre-market audience base, which is a very wide bracket, and digital helps you in extending that. There is obviously an overlap that okay, ultimately a commercial on TV is a video, and that video can happen in the digital space as well. And so, can you kind of use the two media interchangeably? Well, I mean, like, people can, kind of argue about it and kind
Mhm.
of say that, okay, I mean, like, digital is more cost efficient and stuff like that. But then, the thing is that, where is the measurement? In the sense that there isn't like a industry kind of a database or a single source data where you can kind of measure the two of them together and do some optimization exercises. Well, there are a lot of proprietary tools which each agency has, but nothing that's like a industry source, industry syndicated database.
So you put aside about 50% for TV initially, and then you to keep the remaining 50% for TV plus digital. Or if I'm correct,
Yeah, roughly put.
50% TV, then TV plus digital 25%, or is it 35% for TV, then TV plus digital, then digital alone?
Let's say this way. I mean, like uh, coming down to basic numbers. Let's say 50 plus 20 on TV plus digital. The
Okay,
rest of the 30 on in the digital space.
excellent. Nice. So you're still keeping aside 50% for digital overall,
Well, I
which is which
will
is which
not.
is the right way to go. Which is
Now, I will not want to quote something that is not in public domain, but it is proven through media mix modeling, media mix research that that's the kind of way it still works and can possibly work for a while. And however, I would definitely say we've got to keep our ears and eyes open, and always be on the lookout for media dynamics that are happening all the
fantastic. It's been lovely chatting with you. Any last words in terms of the Hindi movie genre, spending on Hindi movies, spending on television, and the use of the mix that you have to have, right? Would you like to encapsulate and give some last words?
time. Well, see, I want to say something more to the other side of this genre. I mean, like uh, you got to innovate all the time with your content. Then it doesn't really work this way that one thing suits everyone. So continuously innovating with content, and that's why you have the reel generation and the shorts generation happening because of that, because they continuously innovate. And so therefore that's the more important part of it. And there will be takers for it in terms of users consuming. There will be takers in terms of advertisers helping monetizing it. But it's not like like a seller's market if I were a broadcaster. So I've got to be more like a uh, content creator who is kind of dynamic and innovating all the time. As an advertiser, that's what I would wish I would have more often on my plate.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. I've really learned a lot from you. I hope I've managed to get some new thoughts sparking in you. If I haven't, maybe the next time when we do an interview, it might be better. But it's been a pleasure listening to you and interacting with you.